Hey everybody. Yeah, just me. I figured I'd do another one today, another talk. YouTube, this will be on YouTube. This is a Zoom. I don't know, man, post it online somewhere else, Facebook. But yeah, start again. Why not? Um, I was gonna talk, you probably expect me to talk about the marathon coming up on Sunday. 6 days to go. There's not much to say about a marathon. That's soon. Just the standard. There's so many things you could do that could ruin it, like try to run every day before the race and see if you can make up that 121K run you missed. You can't do that. And the saying is, there's a lot of stuff you can do to make it bet. Not anything you do to make the race better on Sunday or the run on Sunday better, but there's a lot of things you can do that make it worse. And at this point, like I said, I think last week, have your plan in place. It should already be there. Parking, if you can find a way not to have to park, find some other way to get to the start line, do it because 8,500 people are here in Edmonton for that race. A lot of them from out of town, probably staying downtown, but there's a lot coming from the burbs. I booked a hotel room just because there's one right by the starting line. I just can walk across the parking lot, run my 10K. And for me, it's gonna be a training day. I don't have I haven't had the back training to do a marathon or anything or half, but I'm thinking about next year. And the reason I'm thinking about that is because I'm really old, right? Almost 67. I think I'm 137 days away from turning 67, and then I'll be 3 more years before I'm 70. And I'm thinking, okay, can I even run another marathon? And you think, okay, can I? And then I started reading. There's a couple of great books out there about some really amazing people that are well older than I am now. In fact, one of them didn't start running till they were 60. So it's possible. So maybe next year, right now, Vancouver half again. I'm going to try that in May again. As long as the only thing I hate about Vancouver half marathon though, or even a marathon or anything in Vancouver, cost. I just looked till end of September, prices are really, really high. After September, prices are like half price. You could say like the Pan Pacific for not that expensive. Um, Airbnbs are still pretty pricey. And then come spring, May, boom. So I'm going to save my pennies and hope. But there's three people I've sort of looked at and thinking, some of you guys, I've talked to about this. There's a video on YouTube, a documentary called Fit Generation about seniors training and running and doing other sporting stuff to stay fit. People in their 70s, 80s, and beyond, and late 60s. And there's a couple of people they talk about in that show, or one for sure. And there's others I've crossed paths with. I know I've actually seen one on a race or saw one on a race, saw on a race, half marathon again, and near the finish line. So she was ahead of me up until then. Her name was Betty Jean McHugh. Some of you know her, BJ McHugh from North Vancouver. Um, I think I wrote it down. She's actually in her 90s. I think she's like 95 now. She's known as a flying Franny. And she trains about 60 kilometers a week. Her goal is always to get 2 hours of exercise in a day, not necessarily training. It's interesting. She doesn't wear a watch. She doesn't journal everything like we do. Doesn't follow really much of a training plan. She actually does. I think for marathons, you have to, but no coach, and enjoys ice cream, and she smokes, which is not good. But yeah, when she was 90, she set the world record at the the Honolulu Marathon. 90 years old, 6 hours and 47 minutes and 31 seconds at 90. Okay, so that's 90. I don't know what you do, how you do the handicap to make what would that speed be for somebody that was in their 30s. But yeah, she did it. So there's hope. Running a marathon and when I'm 90. A little ways away, but maybe I can do it. But yeah, it's an amazing book. First of all, this is her book, and it's actually interesting. I like the book. I kind of like the way it's written. It's about she got invited to a marathon in Rome by somebody in Rome, and she went, and because she was setting records, she was in her I guess 80s, and so she went. And the story, a lot of the stories about that, but it's also about her background and how she got to where she is. And it's interesting. I started out in Ontario working growing up on a farm, becoming a nurse, ending up in BC as a nurse, finding someone and get married. And yeah, things progressed. She talks about building a house in, well, is it British Properties in North Vancouver? I can't remember what it's actually called, but where it's very, very expensive now. Like she's a stone's throw, I think, from Grouse Mountain. So yeah, if we could go back in time, that would have been, I should have done that, right? But yeah, so interesting book, interesting story. And yeah, she runs halves and full marathons. And I like the background stuff of her life and how she got to where she is now. A lot of you guys may know the Iron Nun. I can't remember her name off the top of my head right now, but yeah, another interesting story. Woman that's as I think, I don't know if she's still doing Ironman or not, but as she progressed in age, well, she was setting records in those age groups because a lot of times she was the only one in that age group. But still doing it. If you do an Ironman, it doesn't matter how long, you got to do it within I think, a set amount of time, like 14 hours, right? But or 15 hours. But it doesn't matter how old you are, you still have to you have to finish it, right? So if you're at that age and finish it, don't care about the time. You've done it, right? A lot of you have heard of this person, Olga. What makes Olga run? This is actually a fascinating book as well. Her name is Olga. I checked my notes. Not we talked about her. Let's talk about, we'll talk about Gwen in a few seconds. Let's talk about Olga Kotelko. I should be able to pronounce it because I am Ukrainian. But yeah, when she was in her 90s, she was setting all kinds of records for somebody in their 90s. Most of hers were like Olympic type things, like throwing javelin, disc. She says she loved throwing the hammer and running sprints. She was going to try and do hurdles. She didn't do that. She was afraid of them. But her story too, like she passed away in 1995 or 2014 at the age of 95. But she was setting records before, and it's just amazing. And the thing about this book, it's not just about her. She's sort of the point, right? Somebody in their 90s or studying somebody in their 90s, how they got to and how she got to look so young and do what she does. If you watch her videos, it's amazing to see her run. And because of her age, there's nobody else in the age group. So she ends up running in younger age groups and beating people in those ages. So that's and sprinting and throwing disc and whatever. And it almost seems like the get-go from when she started, but her background and what she does on a daily basis to get where she is was pretty interesting. There's another lady, woman, sorry, person living in Vancouver. Her name is Gwen McFarland. Again, another interesting person, which I think amazing person. Just saying. Where'd my notes go? I lost my notes. Come on, Gwen, where are you? I lost. Oh, here's Gwen. Yeah, so she's I think she's in her 90s as well, but she's setting records too. She did Ottawa at 80, and she did it in 4 hours and 12 minutes. My fastest time is 4:04. And yeah, I was never a fast runner to start with, but 4:12 for the Ottawa Marathon at 80. Again, there's something to strive for, right? There's a group in Vancouver. I wish we had it here. It's called Forever Young. Young group. They don't have, I've been looking online. They do have a race or a run in September 7th, I think, this year. And it's called the Forever Young 8K. There's also a 5K. 8K takes care of, it says Richmond, it's actually Steveston, but yeah, I wish we had something like that here just for us seniors, because I'm getting there. This gray hair wasn't just added afterwards. It's here. But yeah, again, somebody she ran 18 marathons between 2001, 2012, and she was in her 70s and 80s, right? So yeah, she had cancer survivor, right? Really serious ankle injury when she's 82. But yeah, still running. And she says that over and over again. She likes to run. That's why she runs. It's not a goal to win. I guess maybe it is, but her goal is just to run. She just likes to run, which I like to do. I like to run. So that's interesting. There's another book most everybody's heard of, and you can see by how this is dog-eared, Older, Faster, Stronger by Margaret Webb. She was in her 50s and she wanted to run like she did when she was in her 20s. I guess you can um, move that up to as you're in your 60s, wanting to run like you're in your 50s. But it's interesting. I like the way she goes through it too, step by step by step, taking where she is, going into her test to see what her fitness is at that point at the start. And just actually, she smoked at one time too, but going on and on. And her story is really interesting. It's worth listening to. Talk about her mom who had, I think, is polio, and really debilitated, but had one leg that really didn't work, but insisted on doing everything that a person on a farm has to do. Her dad had dementia, so at one point the mom has to take over everything. But her mom even still did water aerobics and did stuff and walked and insisted on doing everything as long as she possibly could. At some point, she had to use a walker and into a wheelchair at one point. But up until then, yes, interesting part of that story. But also going through diet, nutrition, right? That's important. Mental health, because a lot of us run for that mental health to start with, but just how to get that mindset, right? Training, how to train, how often to train, distances. What she doesn't actually talk about the actual training, but you sort of get the idea. And her goal was a half marathon in Italy as well, which was BJ McHugh who did the marathon. But anyhow, and getting that point, nutrition, strength training, which is important, cross training important, diet really important. She's goes more paleo than I would. I'm more trying to stay vegan, which if you have a family that doesn't want to do that, you guys know what the challenge is. But it's interesting. I think it's probably one of all the books I've read, I keep coming back to this one. If you go through anything I've ever read, you'll see this is why I can't take books out of the library. I highlight and mark everything. I write notes in the margins, and this thing's so old. Some of the notes I've written are disappearing. But it's interesting. It's interesting. Yes, it's aimed at females, right? But everything applies to us, really. There's differences. There's another book I don't have it with me. I can't remember what it's called, but I've read it as well. It's I'm not going to run to my house and grab it, but it's learning about women and different issues with women and running and training and biology, right? Because theirs is different, but there's so many things that are in common, especially as we get older. And just the mindset is really important. I thought about this when bodybuilding. I used to do weights when I was in my all 50s and living Kamloops. And I would look at the guys' training plans, right? And it's lift the house for 5 reps of 10, right? And then you look at the women trainers, higher reps, lighter weight, building so they're symmetrical, right? That's the whole thing. It's not just the amount of muscle you put back on. It's got to look good. I actually, yeah, a bodybuilding judge, a novice level bodybuilding judge in British Columbia one time. And you learn that. You learn what they're supposed to look like. And yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, the guys, you'd see the guys come up just huge. And then somebody a little bit shorter, not quite as much muscle build on, but lots of muscle still there. But the symmetry of what they've got and the muscles there and it looks good, they're the ones that win the competitions. So it's not about Schwarzenegger. It's about all that. But yeah, learning about that and aging and how do you deal with that? Because there's guys older than me pumping a lot of iron too. So that's important. Cross trading is important. So yeah, 3 books, 3 people. I would say, actually, I don't know if I can bring these videos up. I'm going to try and share. Just give me 1 second. Share. Let's do there. Share. This doesn't always work great on Zoom, but I'll bring up let's do BJ. See if that works. There we go.
Well, your number 2. The motto 90-year-old Betty Jean McHugh lives by. She discovered one of her greatest passions halfway through her life, and now she's breaking records. Christina Haydanis has her story.
That's a good girl.
A cup of coffee is how 90-year-old BJ McHugh starts her day.
You hungry? That's a good girl.
And after a quick tidy of the kitchen, she's off and running.
You know, you both run and everything's rosy with the world.
Running was something BJ picked up almost by mistake. Since she wasn't allowed to watch her daughter train at the local pool, she headed out to the seawall to help kill time. First, it was for a walk, which then turned into a run.
This would feel good. I don't know. Maybe I'll just carry on with this little thing.
And with that, BJ was hooked. In her late 50s, she decided to start racing, and her story caught the attention of organizers around the world. She even received an invite to run in Rome that came with a bit of a strange request.
He insisted I run up front with the Kenyans. Well, it was scary. I thought, what am I doing here? But you know, they're all gone like that, and then I set my own pace.
Over 20 marathons, including major ones like Boston, followed, where records for her age were broken. Her latest feat, smashing the 90-year-old time by 2 hours in Hawaii.
You know, I just think 90 in this day and age, it's really just a number. That's what I say. It's a number.
But life for BJ isn't just about running. Her family and friends also keep her busy.
We play bridge every second Wednesday. We have coffee every Saturday morning. I meet the girls for coffee. Oh, yeah, I have another life. I just sort of work in the running on the side.
A spunky, spirited, and snappy 90-year-old who's living proof life only gets better with age. Christina Haydanis, CTV Sports.
Okay.
What an
Okay,
inspiration.
She's reasonably well fit. I mean, she's
Yes.
wow.
Okay, let's get into the older, stronger, faster. I think Margaret Webb's video is even better because she's actually features most of these people on there. It's a bit longer, so I'm just gonna leave it to go. Maybe. Yes.
Yeah, I've already set 4 world records, broke 4 world records. Little kids do come up and they say, "Oh, you could be my grandma," but I wish my grandma would do it.
In a race against the fastest 76-year-old sprinter on the planet, I expected to lose, just not quite by that much. By many measures, BJ has the fitness of a very fit 20-year-old athlete.
Do you think being fit has added years to your life? If so, how many?
How many years did fitness add to your life?
At least 20.
20 years. I wanted a glorious second act to my life. So at age 50, with these super senior mentors and a team of expert advisors, I set out to run my way into super fitness.
40 years ago, women weren't allowed to run marathons. Preconceived notions about what can and cannot be done.
Okay, so let's stop share. There we go. So yeah, watch those videos. There's another one online about Olga as well. I'll put the links up when I post this wherever I happen to post it. But yeah, so think about that. If you're like me, I think that's what's going to happen with this YouTube series and me doing these talks. I'm gonna start digging into me, older runners, yeah, mental health, and I'm gonna maybe catalog what I'm doing to try to improve things. Right? It's if you know my story from the first half of this year, it hasn't been great. Actually, for the last 3 years, hasn't been great. So I'm still rebuilding Warren. If you follow my blog, you know what that means. Going from running Ironman races in like 2010 and running halves and fulls still up until basically 3 years ago, and then just shut her down. So the goal is to get back, start doing more races. I'm still reluctant to get into. I'm doing a 10K in Edmonton. There's Edmonton Marathon Weekend. I'm going to try to do the 10K. I'm just looking at it as a training day. I'm going to go with probably the slowest pace bunny I can find. Pace bunnies are important, and just have fun that day and run. Most of them run continuous 10Ks. So 10K, can I do a 10K? I'll do what I can, but hopefully that's welcome back for Warren. And yeah, still hoping to get to Vancouver sometime, maybe this year, if not next year for sure. So stay tuned. Yeah, check out those videos, check out those books. And I wasn't gonna do book reviews on this thing, but I guess I did. So next time.